at some point we are going to have to do a whole show about how good this show sounds.
Everybody, welcome to Downballot. We do the show live every Tuesday, or most Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. It's a listener and viewer supported programming. So assuming Elon Musk does not convert the U.S. Treasury's entire holdings into some kind of fucking meme coin, you can support us by going to echoplexmedia.com, click the support link at the top, and should that meme coin thing happen, I guess I'll have to get a meme coin wallet. I'm producer Dave, and you can find me on Grindr while that shit's still legal.
And this is the Councilman. As always, you can find me at THE_Councilman on X. You can also find me Googling what the fuck meme coin is.
Oh man,
frantically typing into my computer. The shit is just going crazy. I don't know if this, we're gonna even make it through the broadcast tonight. Frankly, they could shut us. They could shut us all down.
Illegal right in the middle of this.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely a DEI production here, even though we are two white dudes. We're very much allies in the fight, so we're fully expecting to be shut down at any moment.
Fucking God, like, yo, I think they're like, I seriously think, like, and I don't want to spend too much time on this before the show, but I think that shit they're doing at Treasury, I think they're trying to get the bag. I think they're trying to steal all the fucking money, dude.
Oh, absolutely. They pull it all back and they make it impossible or really onerous for anyone to ask for money. And so they have all this largesse and they just write it to their own nonprofits, right? Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't really have any applicants for this program except for this nonprofit that's a front for my special interests. We'll just give them the money. And then they'll spend it on, whatever.
Meme coins.
Meme coins, exactly. Dogecoin. I do find it. I mean, there's no such thing as coincidences, right? So the department is called Doge. That can't be a coincidence.
Oh, yeah. Apartheid Clyde just thinks he's fucking edgy and funny. The only thing we can hope for is that the two gigantic egos of Donald Trump and Apartheid Clyde end up at war.
Yes, that would be quite lovely to see explode in a very public and very rich boy versus rich boy sense, or rich boy versus wannabe rich boy sense, I suppose.
I hope they slap fight on Twitch.
Oh, that'd be lovely. And then loser has to go back to Africa.
Elon would be Elon. Oh, I don't know, but not South Africa. We're talking like, we'll send them somewhere.
Yeah, let's send him to the Congo. Let's send him to we have to send him to the Congo. Forget South Africa. He can't get off that easily. And Donald Trump, somewhere in the Sahara, like Algeria or one of these places, right? Mali, up in northern Africa, which is a wide expanse of desert. I can just picture Donald Trump staggering through a desert. Water, McDonald's, Big Mac,
Ivanka.
Oh,
in their breakup, who gets Ivanka?
I guess yet to be seen.
So our first story is somewhat related to what we were just talking about. What do we got for leading off? Well,
it's a scary time out there, no matter really where you are, but especially if you're like, not white. And unfortunately, the current administration is targeting a wide swath of folks who are integral parts of our society and our community. And we're going to learn more about how some folks are fighting back and in our local community, and how they're stepping up to defend the rights of immigrants and the folks who built this country and continue to build this country. So we're going to learn more about it from NBC.
Instead of sitting in class today, Nico and Emiliano are watching the movie McFarland. It's the story of student athletes from immigrant families in the Central Valley. The sixth graders stayed home from school in the Elm Rock School District, but this isn't about playing hooky. Nico says the images of ICE enforcement have been bothering him.
I feel sad because they're getting separated from their families.
The middle schoolers say this is their form of protest.
I'm protesting that about all the deportations that have been happening, and it's not fair because all the immigrants here are helping the community.
The Elm Rock School District says it's seen a steep 12% drop in attendance since the ICE enforcement actions began in San Jose. Today, 2,874 students were out, a 363% increase from the average day this year. The Franklin McKinley's district next door says it had a whopping 1,611 students stay home today, more than 300% above normal. Nico and Emiliano's parents say they took the step despite knowing their cash-strapped district will lose a lot of money today. They say making the point is simply more important.
I get it. It's $250 a student if they don't attend school, right? But what's happening to the families that are getting separated and deported?
Across town, a few businesses closed for the day to honor the cause, including Tostadas Restaurant and Con Azúcar Cafe. Customers tell us they understood the reasoning.
I mean, in my opinion, it's something good because they're like actually helping out the community and they kind of want to spread awareness about what's going on.
Off camera, a worker at this construction site in San Jose told me several of his co-workers didn't clock in today. He said others showed because they can't afford to lose a day's pay. But the manager of the Yaquis in Willow Glen said no.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
The same with La Victoria Taqueria.
Manager, here's what the manager of Yaquis said.
Don't forget to follow us on social media for beautiful food and inspiration.
And get a swirl.
It's a small price to pay, right? For a bigger cause.
Nico's mom says everyone should understand just how much America needs its immigrants. Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
That was good. Actually, that Tostadas place is the bomb. I don't know if you've been there for breakfast, dude. Tostadas is the bomb, dude.
Oh, 100%. We actually have the number 2 location right over here, about maybe a couple blocks away, literally from our homestead. So we are frequenters. The in-laws really like it too. So we get free breakfast sometimes. That's the best part. That's the best breakfast. So I props to everyone who participated in this. I get it with the kids. Like I would frankly send my kids to school. I think the real point is, taking immigrants out of the economy, right? So workers, especially, were really important in this, and it's good to see. But we haven't really seen a massive get out strike in a long time. May Day can be used for that. May 1st. It's also generally known as a Workers' Day. So perhaps we can see a broader effort around this. But it raised awareness, but it's not really making a dent in anyone's profits, and it's unfortunately not moved the needle in the larger sense. So
I think we might be seeing the beginnings of what at first is going to appear to be like a quiet labor action that will possibly over the coming months might be a louder labor action. Yeah,
we shall see. But I do know that it's going to be difficult. It's a difficult balancing act. Like the mom said, with school enrollment funds and fees, and then people needing their paychecks to pay for bills. So it's a delicate balance, but we need more opportunities to show what the world would look like without the folks that certain people are trying to pretty much force out, white out, whatever you want to call it, block out and keep out.
Man, it would have been baller if Biden on his last executive. What if he just pardoned everyone? What if he's like, I'm just going to pardon everybody who's technically here illegally right now at this moment,
and give them all citizenship? I wonder if that is an executive power. I don't know that it is. But
I don't know that he could he could pardon them for the violation of the immigration violation.
Sure, yeah, for any future violations, absolutely, and basically give them immunity from future prosecution. That would have been pretty baller. 12 million people. I think it was the last number I heard.
Well,
right?
He didn't give us citizenship, but I don't know. A piece of paper says I'm pardoned.
Yeah, so neener, basically. neener, ICE. So if you see ICE, report it. Let people know their rights. They can't just come at you and search you and make you do all sorts of shit without a warrant and without a reason. They can't.
And if you're brave enough, be a little bit inconvenient for them.
Hell yeah, step in their way. They're driving down the street. Pull your car really slowly through the intersection. Maybe get a fake or a flat tire.
Or if you have a stick shift, just keep stalling your car if they're behind you.
Oh damn! I just learned how to drive this thing. Man, I'm trying. My muscle memory is all gone. It's been a while since I drove a stick. Sorry. Obfuscate, infiltrate, frustrate, and keep your community safe. Keep your people safe.
Thank you. There was somebody in the chat's like, I will not write TOS things about ice picks in the chat. I will dance instead. So
I love dancing.
There's a lot going on right now, and we're going to move on to winners and losers, where there are no winners unless you were rooting for somebody, and then they unless you were rooting against somebody, and then they probably win. This appears to be ED209, and he's got a one-on-one interview with NBC Bay Area about immigration. So if I had to guess what his stance is going to be, he's going to be like, well, I don't really like these ICE raids unless they're raiding the homeless.
But that's quite astute. I think it's a little bit of a longer clip, but I think that's what he's going to get at, and maybe we can get it to the crux of it after not too long.
I was fucking kidding.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, okay, maybe not. He may not be as direct as saying that, but we can all read between the lines. Producer Dave, we're very astute observers of local politics by now. So let's hear what Mayor Ed has to say and this is under winners and losers this week, because as usual, there really are no winners unless you're rooting for the wrong person.
Well, a lot to cover there. You mentioned immigration. A new reality is really setting in across the Bay Area as the Trump administration follows through on threats to crack down on immigration. In some cases, we've already seen the presence of ICE agents in cities, including San Jose. And joining us now this morning live is San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan. Thanks so much for joining us. I know your time is very busy and precious. I want to start out talking about all this recent ICE activity that we've seen in San Jose. Tell us what you know about what happened, the police response, what their policies are, and also how
the police response is to get them coffee.
Are adjusting.
Well, good morning, Laura. There's a lot there in what you're asking. We got a courtesy heads up last weekend that ICE would be carrying out some targeted operations in our city. The reality is that has been the case in past administrations as well. So thus far, I wouldn't say the activity we've seen is particularly new, but there's a lot of fear in the community because of all of the rhetoric out of Washington and what the Trump administration is saying they plan to do. We want to be very clear about two things in San Jose. On the one hand, we will continue to enforce our laws. If you are committing crime in San Jose, whether you are undocumented or not, our police department will enforce our laws. And if you're committing serious or violent crime, a consequence, if you are undocumented, will very likely be deportation. On the other hand, our police department enforces our local laws. Just as we don't check your IRS tax return, we don't ask you for your papers. We don't check your birth certificate. That's just not a body of law that we enforce.
They do. This is sort of not true. They try to identify you and then they look you up.
San Jose, when they see the SJPD badge, to know that they are safe calling 911, irrespective of their status. They are safe being a witness to a crime, irrespective of their status. And the reason for that policy is it allows our police department to enforce local laws, have trust with our residents, and it makes all of us safer. But I don't want anyone to be left with the impression that we're somehow a sanctuary for people committing crime, because that is not the case. We take a very
nowhere is. What is he talking about?
Well, he's speaking directly to his people, right? We're speaking to our people. Hey, chat, how's it going? And he's speaking to his people, the people that elected him, the people that are out there now who are clamoring about a safe, clean, cleaner, a safer, cleaner city, right? Which basically means take the damn homeless out of my neighborhood and don't let me see them ever again. So he's responding to that attitude that this country's all lawless and we're letting these illegal aliens just run roughshod over our laws. So he's reassuring all of those public safety, mavens that we're not going to just become we're not a city of just rampant, crime and recklessness. And at the same time trying to, toe that line of like, oh, well, but we're very empathetic and sympathetic and, it's I don't envy them having to toe the line, but that's what you get when you engender support from communities that don't really understand what's going on and really whose first knee-jerk reaction is just get them out of my face.
Pragmatic and balanced approach in San Jose.
All right. That's understood. Well, a group of students I know recently.
Oh, good follow-up.
Of your office to discuss immigration policies. We understand that you're now planning a town hall.
That's right. Yes, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing a town hall meeting to just bring the community together, anybody who has questions or concerns, and clarify our policies. I'll be doing this town hall.
Oh, are you inviting ICE?
Along with our police chief and senior city administrators.
Let's all sit down, chat.
What our policies are. The truth is, we can't...
Watch those kids be like, oh, good, now we sat down. We ain't leaving.
That's outside of city council offices, by the way, on the 18th floor. These kids are sitting and blocking the hallway outside the offices.
Tell people exactly what ICE will do. We don't know. That federal law enforcement enforces federal laws. We do not in any way interfere. That would be against the law. We don't do that. So we can't make any guarantees, but we want people to know what our city policies are. We don't ask for people's status. There's good reason for that, as I just outlined. And we do have resources. If someone has a family member who's been picked up on an immigration order, there are people you can go to ask questions, to get legal advice. And that's really the goal, is to make sure that our community is informed of what our rules are, what resources are out there, and has as much clarity as possible.
Yeah.
We owe them that.
There's a lot of great resources available, although a lot of people are starting to get a little afraid to even, seek some of those, not trusting.
Absolutely. No, there's a lot of fear in the community. And frankly, I think this uncertainty is bad for our country. This is, I'm wading into federal policy. I tend to stay very locally focused on crime, homelessness, paving roads.
So do we.
But big picture, I think two things can be true. I think we should be comfortable saying we want to have a secure border, know who comes in and out of the country. If you're here undocumented, committing really serious crime, we should deport you. On the other hand, we also have to acknowledge our nation has relied on immigrants, including, frankly, undocumented immigrants, particularly here in California, for decades. We have people in our community who have been here for 20, 30, 40 years, who are contributing, who pay taxes, who are raising their children here, who want nothing more than to achieve the American dream.
They got common law. They used to have common law marriage. I think you should get common law citizenship if you've been able to fly under the radar and not get busted for like fucking 10 years or some shit here. You should be like common law, like grandfather did. That's what I think.
Hey, ideas.
And I think it's a travesty that we haven't figured out in Washington how to secure the border and then create a pathway to citizenship, or at least legalize people's status through work permits when they've been here as good actors, as good neighbors, and they're making our country stronger.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you make there. You touched there on homelessness.
Thank you, Laura.
That was huge in your campaign to be mayor. You've really been hands-on, rolling up your sleeves out there, even with the homeless count that recently took place. How is everything progressing so far to the level of where you want it to be?
Yeah, this is our number one issue, and I'm focused on it every single day. Our strategy in San Jose is markedly different from where we were just a few years ago. We are tripling our shelter capacity. We just broke ground on a new interim housing site at Cherry Ave. We are about to open a new safe parking site. We are even experimenting with a very simple, safe sleeping site with some basic infrastructure. What they all have in common is security, sanitation, and case management to help people connect with supportive services and turn their lives around. And the key is this: as we build out our shelter capacity, we are expanding no encampment zones, and we're requiring that people use shelter or find a different city to camp in. There has to be accountability. We have to create incentives for people to come in off the streets, access the taxpayer-funded supportive services that are available, and improve everybody's collective safety and quality of life. We can only do that, though, if we have sufficient shelter capacity. And so we've been investing in that, and now we're starting to step up our outreach and enforcement efforts to make sure the whole community is better off.
Yeah, it's cleaning up your city, and it's giving dignity to people as well, which is so important. Senator
What the fuck?
Mahan, thanks so much.
Lady, there's a bunch of inappropriate things I'm about to say that you should be doing to Matt Mahan right now instead of what you're doing, okay? Like,
go for it.
No, I'm not going to say any of them. People can use their imaginations. There's a style of interview that we no longer really use the term for. People used to call them blowjob interviews or hand job interviews.
Well, that's certainly what that was. I mean, it's Laura Garcia. It is the morning show on NBC, so I cut them a little slack for being the morning show, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, the incisive political commentary and questioning is not what you're going to expect from that angle.
Like, wow, good job. Thanks for coming on.
Well, that's what they know going in, right? That's what he knows going in, is he can come in and steamroll and just, push his narrative for 5-6 minutes down our throats with his beady little black eyes and tell us, all manner of things about how he perceives and how his voters and his donors perceive the world, when really it's just not real. It's not realistic. It's not what's actually happening. It's not reflective of what's happening on the ground out there and how people actually respond to services. And I'm so again, so grateful that the mayor is on board with all these strategies to solve these issues and support the community and our in-house population. But like, where was this? Where was this years ago? Where was this when others were proposing it? It's nothing new, and it's just coming to the game late. But I guess we're supposed to be excited because something's happening finally. So yeah, and today the council heard hours of public comment from folks about the need for us to step up and protect our own people. And they did pass a new, resolution to reaffirm our status as a city that respects everyone and protects everyone here in San Jose. But it was all very performative, and at the end of the day, the actions speak louder, right? So let's see what happens.
We will see what happens. Well, we're gonna move up like north of me, up to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh way, baby. Yeah. So we were experiencing a very tenuous time out there. Like I said, folks were coming out to speak today and said that, hearing reports of upwards of 20% of kids are being kept home from their schools or their daycares in impacted communities and heavily immigrant communities. And it expands to the pressures and the fear expand to the LGBTQ plus community, and especially with the elimination pretty much or the targeting of DEI programs across the board. Now even teachers are feeling the burn just for trying to promote an inclusive society.
Or just an inclusive classroom.
Correct. So God forbid we influence kids to be more accepting and inclusive. But anyway, we're going to learn about the backlash she's facing, not from the kids, mind you, from the parents.
Tonight, there is anger among some parents at an elementary school in Pittsburgh. A teacher posted a video of her putting up a pride flag and displaying books about diversity.
The video posted was after President Trump signed numerous executive orders targeting the LGBTQ plus community and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And ABC 7 News reporter J.R. Stone is here with more on that story tonight, J.R.
Well, Julian and Amma, family members of kids at this school reached out to me about this story. Yes, the video that the teacher recorded did more than 10 million views when it was reposted by a political account on X, but that wasn't why I looked.
I know what account they're talking about. They're talking about Chaya Raychik.
Oh, interesting. I don't know.
They also known as Libs of TikTok. If it did that kind of numbers, it's that account.
Got it.
Good job, News. Thanks, News, for not like even fucking making even just an aside about what that person believes in and what that account is for.
Right.
Good job, local news.
I think I called them out the other day on the X thing, possibly.
Looked into this story. Family members were upset about the possibility of sexual orientation being taught to their first graders.
Oh.
Still image from the 12-second video that was posted by teacher Melanie Ramirez, who you see here. She's lip-syncing the words "speak out" in the video. In the beginning, she shows off her pride flag in class, then some of the books in her classroom, and this poster saying, "We need diverse books." Parents told me they questioned whether these items, the pride flag specifically, should be in the classroom of first graders. Regarding that, Pittsburgh Unified School District Superintendent Janet Scholes says the district has only received one email about this from a parent, saying they've received numerous emails, phone calls, and messages from people that they have determined do not have any children in the school district.
Yep.
Oh yes, that tracks.
They didn't reach out to the district, but rather the school. Scholes says the teacher, Ramirez, is teaching the adopted, state, and district-approved standards-based curriculum, going on to say the teacher is not violating any board policy, and there is nothing in the teacher's class
Good job, Janet.
that violates any policy.
Thank you.
The pride flag has long symbolized unity, love, and acceptance. Recent studies have found that school environments which are inclusive to LGBTQ plus history, culture, and people are safer learning environments for LGBTQ plus youth and have better educational outcomes. The parents want to know if sexual orientation is being taught to first graders here. I asked the superintendent through email, but did not hear back. I did briefly speak with Ramirez.
Yeah, because they were like, fuck out of here.
She has been severely bullied since her post. She has since made her account private. As for family members I spoke with, they didn't want to show their faces out of fears of retaliation.
Yeah. So everybody got an opinion, but the only person whose face got fucking broadcast was this teacher, and it was put out by fucking, like, the news. It would have taken them 30 seconds to explain what the Libs of TikTok account is for and what it does.
Yeah, absolutely. And shame on them for not doing that and for taking kind of a base approach and not calling this out and condemning it too, right? At the same time, like, obviously you're journalists, you're media, you're supposed to be unbiased and present all sides of a situation, but you're also there to be skeptics and to be discerning, absorbers of information and regurgitators and reflectors and of information and providers of information. So you owe it to the community to give them that context and provide that information.
Just shirk the shit off on the Southern Poverty Law Center. Be like, the accounting question is on Southern Poverty Law Center's Hate Watch page for discrimination against LGBTQ people and their supporters. Boom.
100%. I think the post I saw the other day from them, it was a mural at a public school, with pride flags, colors, hands coming together, hands of many colors coming together. We got your back, right? We support you. And this account saying, oh, we're here to expose things like this. And my thought was, it's a public mural on a public school campus. What are you exposing, right?
Right.
The fact that people actually love each other and care about each other in a real,
or at least pay lip service to it when it suits them.
Correct, right, and try to create environments like that are more welcoming at this, in school and in public places. Like, God forbid. So yeah, I had to call them out on that. I'm sure they weren't listening since they do have millions of followers, and I'm just one of their little minions in the X-verse. But I like to keep tabs. So yes, it would be great if our local newsies provided more context on not just this but all stories. So please, like as producer Dave said, do the 30 seconds work and help people better understand the stories you were presenting to them.
Right, because all we heard was that someone posted this video. They didn't even say that it wasn't her, right? Like they couldn't even tell you that it was like a third party that scraped the video and then reposted it. Like,
right. And they say it's got 10 million views because it was posted on this one, but it implies that there is something incendiary about it, right? There is something like viral about it, when really, like, frankly, probably just a dorky teacher just doing some dorky stuff, right? And doing dorky teacher things.
Well, and it's not her post. That they didn't even clarify that the reason she
didn't
get that many views. I don't
she
know
doesn't
for
have
sure.
10 million followers.
She probably did, I don't know. She's just some random teacher. If she got 1,000 views on that on TikTok or wherever she posted it, I'd be surprised, because it's actually really hard to get. Like 1,000 views is like a lot. Like most posts get like if 12.
Well, yeah, like if a few of her friends like watched it, that would be awesome, probably for her TikTok, clout. But so 10 million is it requires something else, and that would just that triggered right there. I'm like, 10 million? Who the fuck are they talking about? And then you mentioned it was Libs of TikTok. I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense now, because I know, but I even have a peripheral understanding of how it's going, what's going on there. So doing the legwork really does help. It really does flesh out your story, and it makes the story more powerful, more actionable.
Just get on the fucking phone to me. I won't even charge you for the fucking 3 minutes to explain to you what's going on and how to fucking explain it very quickly.
Telling you,
the first one's free, like a dope dealer.
Yeah, right.
And an after school special.
Just come to me. I got you. Producer Dave, you got to help me. Well, yeah. So as I've always said before, there's a consulting practice in there somewhere for you. We can think about the business plan later offline when next time we have beers.
Well, yeah, we'll have to, like, when the economy turns into meme coin, we'll have to figure out how to get some meme coins.
Right. How do you get them meme coins? Private consulting. It really is where it's at these days. You can accept money. If you're working for yourself, you can accept money in all sorts of ways, even Doge. So, all right. Well, that was all the heady topics we have to talk about this week. The rest is the downhill slope is all just your typical fun down-ballot-y local bullshit, and we're going to start in San Francisco, where all the local bullshit usually starts. These guys are apparently, some folks are getting like tired of waiting for laws to be enforced around no parking zones around corners and intersections, and some folks in San Francisco and the Richmond are taking matters into their own hands.
Walk down Balboa Street in San Francisco's Richmond neighborhood and you can't help but notice several newly painted red curbs. The only problem? The San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency says many of them are fake, painted red by an unknown person or people.
It's extremely inappropriate, and I don't think it's acceptable to do such things. I hope it's illegal.
Local resident Rhea.
Oh, what do you think the socioeconomic status of this neighborhood is?
Oh, okay.
She may be wearing like a windbreaker, but she got a pocket watch in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's decent. I've lived in that neighborhood.
Curbs popped up seemingly overnight this week. As you can see, SFMTA has had to start repainting some of these fake curbs gray again. That's because whoever did this made some of them much longer than the 20 feet that's actually required by the state's daylighting law, and that fact has frustrated a lot of local residents.
It's already extremely hard to park in San Francisco.
Well, I have an idea.
Ditch your car and take the muni bus that's right fucking behind this chick right now.
Don't park in San Francisco.
Don't park in San Francisco.
Parkings in neighborhoods.
SFMTA says many of the fake curbs were originally spray painted red. A spokesperson for the agency said they had to send crews out to repaint them and make them the proper length. In a statement, SFMTA expressed frustration over being forced to do that, saying, "Responding to these incidents is stretching our resources thin and causing confusion among residents. To comply with the state's daylighting law, we need to be focusing our limited resources where they matter most, which is most immediately in school zones to provide safe crossing to kids." Those frustrations were also shared by other people in this neighborhood.
The city is being forced to do something that they shouldn't have to be doing, and of course that takes time and money, and so that's taking resources away from things that they might decide would be a better use of the money we pay in taxes.
And amid the confusion, many just hoping whoever's responsible is caught.
I really hope they can figure out who's actually doing this and why would they do it. Is it someone within the neighborhood? Is it just here? I don't know if it's throughout the city.
SFMTA says while they would ultimately like to daylight every intersection in the city, they currently don't have the funding to do that. In San Francisco, Tim Johns, ABC 7 News.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. What a dumb fucking thing. Like, okay, like I could see like could you just do graffiti like a normal person?
Right. I was thinking, is this like Banksy kind of shit? Like, is this some sort of road?
No, this is whatever the opposite of
artist?
Banksy is this.
Right. Government Banksy. Yeah, they should get sick and tired of waiting around, so they're just going to paint the town red. Yeah, not safe, not cool, but I'm also not crying for the loss of like a parking spot if that's what people are really clamoring about. Like that's not the talking point. Okay, that's not the reason. Yeah, but the law is daylighting intersections, so it's really just up to public works in cities to figure this shit out and get this shit done and get their shit together. But I understand how San Francisco's public works are not exactly, running on all cylinders right now, given all the corruption and money that's been flowing around.
There's a lot of intersections and crosswalk. I mean, this is like a dense fucking place where not only are there all these city blocks, but then there's all these alleyways within these city blocks. Like, if
yes,
it's going to take them years.
Yeah, and it would anyway. So, and what they're saying here is that this is. And I think rightly so, frankly, like, Public Works is saying, look, like we're trying to get these done and you're wasting our fucking time having to go clean up your mess, right? When we could be out there putting these things proactively on more streets. It's going to take us longer to clean up your shit.
Right. Not just schools, but just like places like if I was, and I assume they are, they're probably targeting places where in the past there have been more vehicle and pedestrian collisions and like schools,
100%.
But near schools, but also places where historically there have been more accidents involving pedestrians and vehicles would be like, that's where I would start.
Yeah. I mean, and typically, public servants are pretty intelligent folks and do the right thing and the most expedient thing. And that would make sense. I don't know. We would be speculating if we said we knew, but that would make a lot of sense if it went that way. And I would expect that it was going that way. Everyone's looking through an equity lens these days. So that would be the first thing. We'd be looking at the data and seeing what are your priority intersections and taking care of those first. 100%.
But it's so hard to park here.
Yeah, I'm over that argument. I'm so over that argument for any project, any development, any new thing. It's like, what are we going to do about cars? Where am I going to put my car when I go to this thing? It's like, maybe don't take the car to the thing. Maybe find another way to get there. Maybe even carpool. Fine. You want to take a car?
Yeah.
Go
Get
with
your
other
friend
people.
to pick you up so they have to worry about how to park.
Right. You can go in a car. You can still drive in a car, but maybe not your car, right? Or maybe you drive a couple friends around, something like that, right? Like, come on, get over it. It's not the only reason you're concerned is because everyone just loves driving in their own car, right? And but at the same time, no one wants to talk about, Waymo or driverless or autonomous vehicles and everyone having their little pod car. They want to be able to be in control. They want to just be in control and drive in their car. And at the end of the day, we're all going to be a lot safer when we are all getting pushed around in little electronic pods, frankly. But that may be for another down ballot for us to discuss.
And like, even where I live, like somebody like we left an event and somebody was like, oh, parking around here is real tough. And I was like, oh, well, I hadn't invited you in yet.
Can't complain until you actually get to the party.
And then they say to me, oh, is my car going to be safe in this neighborhood? And I was like kind of drunk and I just looked at this mutual friend of ours and I was like, you know what? I haven't invited you in. Thanks for the ride.
No, your car is not going to be safe. I'm going to tell some fools that you got some stuff to jack. Like target that car right there.
And motherfucker, I live in the Laurel. Excuse you. There's a Farmer Joe's around the corner from my apartment. What the fuck are you talking about?
Don't step to my neighborhood, bro. My neighborhood too dangerous.
All right. We're going to get back to the South Bay.
Yeah. Taking a little drive down the peninsula. 101, 280, whichever one's, less trafficy. We're going to go from illegally painted curbs to whether or not we should have artificial turf on public fields in Santa Clara County.
Turf wars in the South Bay. We are talking about the battle over artificial turf in Santa Clara County. The Board of Supervisors just decided whether to ban plastic turf on county-owned property. NBC Bay Area's Marianne Favreau is live in San Jose with this latest development that just came down. Marianne.
Janelle, there were actually two different versions of this proposed turf ban, but just a few minutes ago, the supervisors voted against both of them. Still, this was a hot topic with more than 120 people from the community weighing in this afternoon, both for and against. Now, the fight is between those who feel that chemicals in the artificial turf are potentially dangerous and turf supporters who believe time has shown that the grass substitute is safe and is the only way to provide safe fields for kids and competitions.
It's not like we don't want sports fields. We know that they're important, but we just don't want to be poisoning the environment and the kids. It's their future.
I'm very concerned that we are already extremely limited in outdoor athletic fields. An artificial turf field can be used 3 to 4 times as many hours in a year as a grass field. And so by removing that as an option for our communities, we're further restricting the opportunity for kids and adults to participate in sports.
Now, if it had passed, the proposed ban would not have applied to private homes. Artificial grass in existing fields to be ripped out. But when turf wears out or leases expired, the ban would have made sure that the plastic would get swapped out for grass. Now, only a handful of locations in the South Bay would have been affected, including a Sunnyvale sports complex and a private school leasing county land. But a ban would likely have impacted the San Jose Earthquakes plan to build artificial turf at the county fairgrounds. Now, the county health department just released a study on artificial turf finding plastic fields contain toxic chemicals, but the exposure for people using them for short periods of time is unclear. Now, even though this turf ban did not pass here in Santa Clara County, there are some on the books here in the Bay Area, including in Millbrae. In 2023, the Millbrae City Council approved a turf ban. Reporting live in San Jose, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area News.
So I don't know enough about this issue, but the people wanting to ban it, saying that it contains chemicals that are gonna fucking poison you, they're going about that the wrong way because it's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, adults and others and some and youth have been playing on these fields for numbers of years now without some sort of massive outbreak of illnesses or other related chemical, ailments. So the jury, I guess, is still out, but at the end of the day, it's not causing some sort of global pandemic, and it is a much more expedient and cheaper, effective, accessible way to cover your fields and your public fields these days, because we don't have a lot of water left. We don't have a lot of time and resources to manage these things and to upkeep these fields. So it's certainly a much more effective and expedient way of doing things. We'd love for everyone to play on natural grass. It'd be great, but it's expensive. It's really time consuming. But
I mean, I'm of two minds here. Like one, like the grass fields, it just stays cooler. That's just the fact that it just fucking stays cooler.
No, it's better for the environment and nature and the planet
and
too.
Grass is nice. It's grass. It has other benefits. That one of just being that it's fucking grass.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%, and it's got environmental benefits. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd have grass fields no matter what. We wouldn't even need a ban, right? In a perfect world, we're not living in a perfect world, unfortunately. So,
but yeah, like if it's between like having an artificial turf field and having a field that's in such poor repair that no one uses it, I guess you take the artificial turf field, right?
Right, or the kids are stepping in gopher holes and twisting their ankles and breaking legs and all these things. That happen and causing even more health problems for themselves. So, yeah, I would love to live in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. So, I think they might find a happy solution at some point. They were trying to find one at this meeting, but it pretty much came down to like a ban or not ban situation, because there weren't enough people who were willing to negotiate out and figure out some sort of compromise on the dais, right? And nothing had been proposed that was able to gain support. So I think they'll come back to this issue again. The community, there's definitely a sizable amount of the community that wants this, or at least wants to see some action. So I think they'll come back to it. But for now, indecision reigns because of this very thing. It's like you're of two minds. I'm of two minds. I think we're all of us are of two minds on this issue.
We're going to move back. We're going to stay in San Jose. And so this next story, I remember they wanted to put, it wasn't a Chick-fil-A. They wanted to put an In-N-Out at Hamilton in 880. And yes. And I was like, oh, that would be when I lived in Campbell. I'm like, I fucking love In-N-Out. Do not put it at one of the worst the only worst freeway off ramp in the South Bay is probably the one over by fucking Santana Row. I was like, do not put that shit here. And so this is on San Carlos Street, it looks like, which is, you go one way, it's fucking Santana Row and Valley Fair. You go the other way, it's West San Carlos Street.
Yeah, the issue here isn't so much traffic as it is appropriateness and just the push and pull of development and what is what the community, quote unquote, what does the community need? So there is a Chick-fil-A has been struggling lately, unfortunately, to find some new locations. They've got rejected twice in Campbell as well, not for the location by the freeway, but on Bascom, where it would have been more appropriate, and just the community, for whatever reason, didn't want Chick-fil-A. I think there's more things at play here than simply just the chicken and the food and the traffic.
I bet they tried to put that shit in downtown Campbell, and they just don't let big chains on the avenue. They just between Railway and Hamilton on Campbell Ave, they just don't let big chains come in.
Yeah, true. And they weren't looking there. They were looking on Bascom near the Prune Yard, short distance away from the Prune Yard, but down the street from other establishments, some of which were like, yes, we would love the fellow business to come here and help us draw more attention to this area. And some who were like, I think we even covered it. Some were like, no, I don't want any more competition for my business, right? So they are looking at now at a site, you might be familiar with, producer Dave. This is where there was a Burger King for many years. It's across from a Safeway and a Smart and Final.
Oh, I know. Okay, yeah, it's West San Carlos and
correct.
West San Carlos and West San Carlos. Yeah, I know exactly. That's the Safeway there is like kind of famous because it's got this big tower with the Safeway logo on it. And I know I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Midtown Safeway. So this is Midtown San Jose. It's all slated for redevelopment and more urbanization, as it were, or densification. And this site has been vacant for many years. Burger King closed down many years ago.
Yeah, somebody in chat points out it's not right across, but it is around the way from the Pink Poodle.
Correct. Yeah, adjacent. In the neighborhood-ish. But there's a push and pull in the community. So Chick-fil-A has proposed a new location on this site. It does fit all of the things, but it's also not really sitting well with some of the neighbors. So we're going to find out more about the fight here that's playing out down the street from my house, actually.
There is a battle brewing in the South Bay over a plan for a Chick-fil-A.
The chicken chain is proposing a new location that would take the place of a small business. That restaurant is planned for West San Carlos and Race Streets, not far from the San Jose Diridon station.
ABC 7 News reporter Lauren Martinez explained.
Kind of far from the Diridon station.
Why would you take out a local restaurant to put in a franchise?
Plans are pending to build a Chick-fil-A here. This lot is on the corner of Race Street and West San Carlos and San Jose. Years ago, there was a Burger King. Now there's a sign that says the city received an application for a development permit. We spoke to Louis Tucker, who lives just down the street.
It's multi-use houses, apartments and single families. It's really a diverse neighborhood, and I like that.
Tucker is a member of the Buena Vista Neighborhood Association, which launched this petition opposing the project. They think Chick-fil-A is the wrong fit for this property.
We've got an urban village plan that says we're supposed to have mixed-use land. We're supposed to have more housing. It defies all of our own rules.
In September, the association received information from the city's planning division on the permit application. It called for the removal of 20 trees and the demolition of a commercial building, home to Sharper Cuts and Taqueria Eduardo.
It's paying.
Oh no! That place is good.
Operating. Why would you take out one business to put?
There are multiple locations. There's one actually by the Pink Poodle.
6 businesses and increasing the property, the income to the city.
I went into Eduardo's to speak to the owner and Sharper Cuts. The owner of the salon didn't want to go on camera. She's had the space for 32 years. She said she hasn't received any official notice that this building will be torn down if the Chick-fil-A proposal is approved. But she said she won't be surprised if it is.
So if we allow a single-story Chick-fil-A or any fast food restaurant that's single-story to displace existing businesses, be super car-centric, and not have anything above it, again, it's a huge lost opportunity.
Alex Shore is the executive director for the nonprofit Catalyze Silicon Valley.
Traditionally, we've had a housing crisis because there's been community opposition to development and to housing. In this case, the neighbors want the housing.
Shore says the city plans to hold a community meeting about the proposed project.
If we don't build housing at sites like this, we're going to lose our sense of community.
We're waiting to hear back from the city to get more details on the proposal and to see if there's a timeline for when this Chick-fil-A could be built. In San Jose, Lauren Martinez, ABC 7 News.
And the chicken sandwich there is mid at best.
Yeah, no, it's not like anyone's writing home about it. Although Chick-fil-A sauce is pretty bomb, I will say, and I'm really glad that they sell it now at the supermarket. But I think, sadly, like this is a spot where almost everyone is right? Like Chick-fil-A is completely within their rights to apply for this, and if it fits the plans, and they are they're a private entity, and this is private land, and they can do what they want with it. They really can. And if the city says they can't, and it does fit the plans, then they could like sue the city if they really felt like it. But at the same time, advocates like Alex are correct that we could see a much higher and better use of that land. And as someone from the neighborhood, I would like to maybe see that. But at the same time, as someone from the neighborhood, producer Dave, I've been looking at this site, at this busted up. It was formerly a busted up Burger King for years. The good wife and I have been in our home now for 7 years. And for all those 7 years, and probably before that, that site was vacant and broken down and beat up. And they're finally doing something with it. And I understand that, it's not what might be the most ideal thing, but it's what's being offered. And it's not, it's not nothing. And it's at least something to take away and to take away something vacant and bring some sort of activity to the space. yeah, sure. I wish they could do like a Chick-fil-A on the ground floor and then have like some housing above it, but that's just not reality right now. But yeah, I would prefer a little more locally faced business too, because Chick-fil-A will be more of an attraction, I think, and it is an attraction to folks. So with a drive-through, that just attracts folks who are just coming through the neighborhood and not, coming from the neighborhood. So perhaps, if there was a restaurant or fast food chain with a little more of a local focus, that might be something more appropriate for the site that I could get behind.
I would be for it if only they would change their name to Chick on Chick-fil-A.
Like really embrace it, right? Like maybe they should move in next to the Pink Poodle then. There are some sites over there that are vacant. So I could direct them to a few choice spots over there. One that I'm looking at in particular. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a later episode of Down Ballot. Well, that's winners and losers for this week. Where again, there are mostly losers. But we do have one more loser.
Uh-oh. We have lost the councilman.
And unfortunately,
everybody that listening on the pod, this is live. I do believe we have the councilman back, sort of. Maybe. Hello. That's weird. Very strange. Check here, see what's going on. This isn't great. They got the councilman. Could you leave and rejoin? Cool. Well, everybody, like I said, the show is recorded live. In case anybody on the podcast is like, this doesn't sound like it was recorded live. Well, friends, it's recorded live. We'll bring the councilman back in just a second here. Theoretically. Hopefully nothing's wrong on my end here. Let's see. Do we have you back?
Hello?
Oh, we do have you back. Fantastic.
It's me, the councilman. How have you been since I left?
I've had to pee for a few minutes here, but
Ew.
It should happen.
Stinky. Well, anyway, moving right along, we're going to move on to everyone's favorite segment, Get Your Shit Together. And this week, it's the city of Oakland, unfortunately, that has to get their shit together and recover some interesting artifacts that have been absconded with. We're going to learn about more in this story from KTVU.
Oakland ripped dozens of commemorative plaques out of the ground after they'd been placed in the sidewalk to mark a piece of local history. KTV's Ali Rasmus reports the criminal act will cost a Bay Area nonprofit tens of thousands of dollars.
You can find these bronze plates embedded in the sidewalk from 7th and Wood all the way to the West Oakland BART station. Each one features the name of a different musician, artists who at one point played or performed in what was once the vibrant 7th Street Entertainment District in West Oakland. Even Green Day has a plaque. They used to have a rehearsal studio here. But now part of that history is gone, ripped out of the sidewalk.
When I saw it, I couldn't even cry. It was past crying. It was just my stomach. It just flipped my stomach.
The West Coast Blues Society, a Bay Area nonprofit, installed this Oakland Music Walk of Fame display 10 years ago. Earlier this week, the founder and director, Ronnie Stewart, discovered someone had removed at least 10 of these 4 square plates.
How could somebody do that? Don't they know the history of some of these people?
Back in the World War II era and for decades afterwards, 7th Street in West Oakland was known as the Harlem of the West. It had a vibrant commercial and entertainment district of Black-owned businesses. Music clubs, theaters, and performance venues lined the street where world-famous musicians like Etta James, B.B. King, and Aretha Franklin performed. These plaques were a way to highlight that part of Oakland's past.
It's a shame that they didn't know the history. I wish they knew the history of 7th Street and what they were doing. It just wasn't some metal to sell.
Stewart says he's not sure exactly when these 40 individually named plates were stolen. It may have been weeks or even months ago. He doesn't live in Oakland and isn't here on a daily basis to check. The plaques that were stolen were in front of some of the oldest music clubs on 7th that are now closed and abandoned with no cameras overhead. Stewart wonders not only who stole the plates, but how.
Pretty heavyweight. I picked them up and they got to be 80 pounds or 70 pounds. They're extremely heavy. And that's what was confusing. They had to use a cutting torch, some sort of a grinder or something to get them out the ground.
This particular plaque wasn't stolen, but you can see from the partially lifted up edge, it appears somebody may have tried to do that. Stewart says it'll cost about $150,000 to replace all of these. He plans on filing a police report and then organizing some fundraisers to raise the money to replace all the missing plaques. In Oakland, Ali Rasmus, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
So fun, interesting fact about that neighborhood. Not only after all those venues shut down, a lot of them people threw raves in those places.
Oh, there you go.
They used to be these venues because they had big open spaces for dance floors, and it was totally illegal to throw a rave there. But that's what a rave is. And there's a couple of these spaces. There's this one space, and it was on 7th. I forget what the cross street was, but it was in West Oakland. And I remember it being a pretty cool fucking place. There was a mezzanine above that the promoter had fucking smartly blocked off because, I don't know, it might have collapsed if people caught on it. But it was just, it was just very cool. You could see the old bar from when it used to be a nightclub and stuff. And there was still an old disco ball hanging from the ceiling and shit. And so that's not just that time, but after that time that was used again by a lot of Black and queer people in the 90s when the house music was coming up and
comes around. It's an evolution, right? Music is an evolution, always is. This is under Get Your Shit Together because it's for God's sake, people, is it getting that bad that you're stealing plaques commemorating Aretha Franklin? Come on, I'm sure you can find better sources of copper out there. But also on this nonprofit director, dude, you don't live in the city, or you're not able to check. No one's able to check these things. You have no idea when this happened. We need to have a little bit more, eyes on the street, eyes on your property here.
Well, I don't know if that neighborhood kind of dead.
No, well, I mean, you figure someone just do a little drive by now and then, just check on shit. But anyway, if that's the case, then not surprising that something like this did happen. But at least they were thwarted by how hard they were to get out of the ground. It looked like at some point, and they just gave up and didn't do them all. So
I hope wherever they try to fucking melt, if they'll probably take them out of the area to melt them, though.
I would imagine so, unless they have some sort of smelting service that they have at their disposal, in someone's backyard or in an industrial area. There's lots of those in Oakland. So, who knows? Perhaps they had a plan to fence it all along. Or they're just music aficionados and they wanted some memorabilia. And like you said, the neighborhood's run down. They're like, hey, no one's walking past these things anymore. No one's missing them. So I'll just take it back to my house and I'll have a little plaque about Aretha Franklin in my house.
Horrible. I don't think I ever noticed those plaques, but I was there at night and on drugs.
Yeah. I think the Green Day one is going to become a place for people to take sabbaticals and pilgrimages at some point. Once Green Day passes on, people will go back to that plaque and take selfies with it.
So that area is a little bit north and west of Bricks, where I'm starting to do my events, because Bricks is over by Jack London Square, and this is a little bit north this is a little bit north and west towards the bridge from where I am. So that's it's not great. People are assholes.
Adjacent. Well, yeah, so that's exactly why they need to get their shit together and, steal some plaques from some white prissy neighborhoods and steal their historical plaques.
Right. At least steal somebody's Hollywood star or something. I don't know.
Go big or go home. All right. Well, moving right along, we're going to get into Down Ballot Watch. There are a few stories this week, and they're all actually Recall Watch associated stories. First of which is following up, as everyone knows, former Mayor Sheng Tao has now been indicted on bribery and other charges. And typically in these kinds of situations, everyone shuts up, but her former chief of staff is not shutting up.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. All the more better for us.
As former Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao awaits her next court date on federal bribery charges, one of her former staffers claims she was alerted years ago to the alleged crimes.
NBC Bay Area's Valina Jones spoke to one of the whistleblowers in the case who testified before the grand jury.
I feel optimistic Just weeks after the celebration in 2022, when Shengtao won the election for Oakland mayor, her former chief of staff, Renia Webb, says she started having concerns.
When the FBI approached me, and what I found out was just heartbreaking, and knowing that it would put Oakland further behind than we ever have been.
The bribery investigation into Tao, her longtime partner Andre Jones, and local businessmen David and Andy Duong started before the election. The Department of Justice alleges Tao and her partner sold business contracts and powerful positions for profit. Webb says the FBI approached her that December and she started to help them build a case.
And it's just sickening that we were running a campaign telling people one thing, making promises to take care of our city, and all the while you and Andre were in the background conspiring to be crooks.
Webb claims when she confronted Tao with questions about Jones allegedly selling positions, Tao already knew and encouraged her to stay silent.
That's when she told me, oh, you're going to be making close to $200,000. Let's set up our families for life. And I was like, no, thank you.
Webb resigned at the end of
Ooh, she tried to bribe her too.
She was harassed and targeted. She says she tried to alert the Oakland City Council and others, but says they all dismissed her, some accusing her of having mental health issues.
I don't have no reason to lie. Like, why would I walk away from close to $200,000 to take about a 400% pay cut if it wasn't for a reason when I worked so hard to get her in the office?
The federal indictment alleges the Duongs funded a $75,000 negative campaign against Tao's opponents before the election and made $95,000 in payments to her partner for a fake job. His attorney says Jones vigorously denies all allegations, saying in part he looks forward to the upcoming court proceedings, which we are confident will establish his innocence.
And put it all on my partner.
But previously denied Tao did anything wrong.
The mayor looks forward to defending herself against these charges, showing that there is in fact no evidence to support.
Meanwhile, Renia Webb is now running for her old boss's job in a crowded election in April.
We are at a reset, but now we have a chance to move forward. We have a chance to pick up, to heal, and to rebuild.
In Oakland, Felina Jones, NBC Bay Area News.
A lot of things like the headdress, the earring. That lady is fucking beautiful. And they were like, I tried to paint her as crazy. But she seemed to know exactly what the fuck was going on. She wasn't able to speak out before, probably because she was involved in the investigation, and some kind of gag order or whatever against her got lifted at some point, and she decided to go to the press.
More than likely, yeah. And I'm sure the press was ready and willing and able to tell her story for sure. Well, hey, and she's running for mayor now too, so it definitely helps with her getting some free press too, free publicity out of this. Not too bad, not too shabby. Very smart, very smart. She looks good, sounds good, saying all the right things. And the only downside is that she can be, if it came down to it, tied directly to the former administration, no matter if she was a whistleblower or not.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's just a bad look, unfortunately.
Yeah, because the FBI is not going to go to bat for her, saying, "Oh no, she came to us. She was forthcoming." Like the FBI is, they're not going to do that. They're not going to go, especially not the FBI. I mean, is there still an FBI? Who fucking knows?
No, but yes and no. I guess Kash Patel might say otherwise, but she's also, they're not going to come to her defense as a political candidate either, right? In that sphere, that's just not their space, right? So, she's got that kind of baggage, unfortunately. But if she can make the case, she might be competitive. There are a lot of folks in that race. All she has to do
is she'd be like, hey, I knew something fishy was going on and I tried to blow the whistle. And she's like, everybody shut me down. And then the FBI came. And when the FBI came, they didn't shut me down. And I talked to them. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
That's how I'd advise her to just matter of fact, just be like, listen, nobody listened to me. They called me crazy. I was right. And now I was one of the key witnesses. I was one of the key people that helped, get this person, their comeuppance.
Right. No,
did I do everything right at every juncture? No, no one does.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. I like it. We'll see how it plays out.
I'd be pretty good at the advising people job. I just wouldn't want them to ever, I wouldn't want to be on anybody's paperwork.
Well, you can always just create a, DIBA and
LLC.
And LLC, producer Dave LLC, and we can figure that out. We can make that work. No worries. Well, anyway, moving right along down recall watch lane. We'll just follow up on this one quickly because it's actually happening. So as we've talked about before, folks who pulled paperwork to try to recall a supervisor on the west side of San Francisco about this whole Great Highway and Great Park situation that he supported. And now we're seeing that the campaign is underway. So we'll learn more about it here from KPIX.
Closing down the Great Highway to traffic will mean a seismic shift in traffic and daily life on the west side of San Francisco, and a lot of residents there are not pleased with their supervisor, Joel Engardio, and his involvement with Prop K, the measure that began it all. Donald's got that story.
At the United Irish Cultural Center, District 4 voters signed the petition. Others volunteered to collect signatures to recall Supervisor Joel Engardio.
I'm just going to talk to my neighbors first. You know, my neighbors on my block.
Unlike many of the recall supporters, Frances Messena says she actually voted yes on Proposition K, which permanently closes this 2-mile stretch of the Great Highway next to Ocean Beach to turn it into a park.
I'm for a park. I actually love the idea of a park, but the process was not transparent, and it wasn't clear, and it doesn't represent our neighborhood.
But you voted for it. Never.
Supervisor Engardio is one
of the
members of Prop K. His constituents say he should have done more outreach before pushing Prop K to a citywide vote.
The coast also belongs to everyone. You know, it's a precious part of San Francisco, and everyone had an equal say as to what to do with this road.
The San Francisco Chronicle map shows how people voted in November. People who live near the Great Highway overwhelmingly rejected the measure, while people who live farther away...
I hate when they show these maps, too, because the problem, they're not showing you, like, this green part's where all the fucking people live.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not telling you the full story. Really, and there's a lot of nuance to this that they're leaving out.
Passed by about 5 points.
It shows clearly the supervisor is not in touch with his neighborhood.
Supervisor,
but you voted yes.
Made a lot of contributions to his district.
They like all the other things that I'm working on, public safety, education, the night markets that are popular, and they don't think we should recall someone based on one policy issue.
About 2 blocks away from the recall launch party, the supervisor and his supporters mobilized to convince voters not to sign the recall.
I respect that people are going to disagree about what to do with the Great Highway, but you can't beat Mother Nature. She's already decided that this road has lost its greatest utility. The southern part's literally falling into the ocean because of severe coastal erosion.
Recall organizers have until late May to collect 9,400 valid voter signatures.
Oh, they already probably.
Oh, yeah, they'll do it.
He'd like to say it's one thing. It's betrayal, and he's made us less safe on the west side.
Wait, how?
How? Yeah, how?
That is the safest part of San Francisco. Fuck out of here.
And what did he betray? Like, what confidence did he betray? Did he say that he would... This is the thing. Like, did he tell you when he ran that he would keep this Great Highway open forever in infinitum, right? And that he would always protect it and never turn it into a park. So help him God? No. Like, he never misrepresented himself at all on this issue. So that's not a betrayal. It's only a betrayal because it's not what you wanted. Like, that's not betrayal. That's just sour grapes, bro. And then, the lady who voted for it, and it's like he's not in touch with his constituents. You voted for it.
You're not in touch with your neighbors.
You're not in touch with your neighborhood. You're not in touch with what's actually going on, right? And of course the folks in the neighborhood opposed it, right? Like, the folks in any neighborhood are going to oppose change. They are. It's just, that's how it is, because they moved to that neighborhood for a certain thing, and you're talking about changing it.
And I didn't know that the fucking the sea was starting to take the road out. Didn't know that. Yeah, turn that shit into a park now.
There's that little bit too, right? But yeah, this is just a classic example of the tail wagging the dog, and people who don't like this guy, right? Whoever opposed him in the first place, finding an opportunity to go after him. It's the same with DA Price, we'll hear about now, and same with Sheng Tao, although a lot more baggage with Sheng Tao. Same with Chesa Boudin. They're just finding opportunities.
This guy didn't get his house raided.
No, definitely not. Absolutely not. So it's
another
disgusting
thing going on. I'd like to see some breakdown, like the people whose houses actually face the Great Highway. I bet those people overwhelmingly voted for the fucking park. because they would love to look out their window and see a park.
Right, and there's not a lot of nuance here, and you're not hearing about everyone else that supported the project and why they supported the project in the initiative and the proposition, and wasn't like this guy was the lone wolf out there pushing this and shoving it down everyone's throat, right? Like this it had broad support, and it had broad support across the city. So it's unless you want to say that the people on the east side of San Francisco aren't your neighbors and your fellow city mates either. Or,
that's what the TL is, and like the Hunters Point. I mean, you know how it is.
They could use a park. They could use a park over there. So anyway, well, unfortunately, this is probably headed to recall. We will be following this. I really hope Dude doesn't get recalled over this because it's such silly bullshit. But that seems to be the trend these days.
I saw like some of the designs for the park. I want to go to this park.
Let's do it. You and me. We'll take a pilgrimage if they ever do build it.
We could all go if I could agree to, if I get somebody to agree to go on a date with me somewhere other than my bed. And we could all go as a big family. You, me, the good wife, the bad baby.
Somebody take producer out. He needs to go out. Not just like to bed. You can do that at the end. You can always do that part, but take him out, show him a good time, take him to the park, show him the bison at Golden Gate Park. Like that's always a fun time. Look at the Tatanka.
It's a tradition for me. If I go to Golden Gate Park, I have to have nitrous oxide. I always do fucking balloons of nitrous oxide and then go just run. I get like cricket sounds, but everybody's different. Yeah.
I've actually never done nitrous. Anyway, I've only been told. So I live vicariously through all of my other friends. All right. Well, speaking of recalls and what happens after, we're going to wrap up the main docket here with thoughts from the new Alameda County District Attorney who was just appointed by the Board of Soups.
In the East Bay, Alameda County chose its next district attorney tonight. The Board of Supervisors selected Judge Ursula Jones Dixon out of 7 finalists. She's a replacement for Pamela Price, voted out in a recall in November. Jones Dixon will take over a department struggling with a huge backlog of cases and facing criticism from families of crime victims. ABC 7 News reporter Tim Johns spoke to her about what she hopes to accomplish.
In a meeting Tuesday night, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors picking Ursula Jones Dixon to be the next district attorney of the county.
I'm just humbled. I'm happy and I'm humbled, and I just want to get to work for the people of Alameda County in a different capacity.
Jones Dixon is an Alameda County Superior Court judge and former prosecutor. She was one of 7 finalists the Board of Supervisors considered. She'll be the second Black woman after her predecessor to hold the district attorney job.
I'm appreciative to Ms. Price for opening a door. And so although our politics are very different and the way we view the criminal justice system is different.
Jones Dixon will step into the DA role at a time when the office is facing heavy criticism. She says she'll work to restore trust and also strive to make public safety a top priority.
We need to be charging cases in a timely manner. We need to have communication with victims on every case. We need to respect Marcy's Law and to make sure that the prosecution is victim-centered.
The new DA tells me that victim-centered mentality also means improving morale within the DA's office itself. Jones Dixon says she plans on hiring and training both new and old staff.
Serious crimes need to have consequences. Not so serious crimes may need to have intervention.
Jones Dixon's appointment has come as a relief to many in the county. That includes Carl Chan, the co-founder of Save Alameda for Everyone, the group that led the recall effort against Pamela Price.
We believe she can perform the work that we've been asking for. And we're not asking for someone coming in to be changing from one extreme to another. We need someone who is balanced.
Jones Dixon will be in office until the end of 2026, but she says she plans on running for re-election that year and in the years after.
If we can just get back to the basics, I believe that people will feel a little more comfortable with their justice system.
Lady, they're going to throw you to the wolves too.
Office next month.
Oh yeah.
In Oakland, Tim Johns, ABC 7 News.
Yeah, they're
going to throw her to the fucking
second.
wolves too.
100%. Carl and all his friends will turn on her in a split second if one thing goes bad, or if they don't, if she declines to charge someone with something. Yeah, and it'll swing back the other way. And we're just in that space right now, unfortunately, it looks like, from the local to the national level. we're just going to see the pendulum going back and forth until someone breaks the cycle of people thinking, well, these fuckers don't know how to handle anything and aren't solving my problems, so I'm going to try these fuckers over here. And eventually people are going to realize, oh shit, my problems are my problems, and no one gives a shit about my problems. And they might start looking around for people who do give a shit. And then we might see some change. But until then, it's just going to be this cycle.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's if you get like appointed to a position that somebody got recalled from, like she's making like the right noises. She's like, hey, I just want to get back to basics and do the job here,
Yeah.
And those are sort of like, what else are you going to say? Because you didn't just get elected, right? So you can't be like, I have a mandate. You know what I'm saying? So she was making like that's somebody told her exactly the right thing to say, not to like inspire anybody, but just to piss as few people off as possible.
Sure. And she's trying to play nice and just play by the play on the up and up, and then set herself up to run in next year basically. So because she does have to start a re-election campaign pretty quickly, so she's gonna have to make a lot of friends, and this is certainly the first salvo on that. I really hope she is. Honestly, I don't wish anyone ill will who gets into elected office. They need to do good to help people. So I really encourage them all to do good, and I really hope that they do. And when they don't, we're going to call them out. And when they do good, we're going to call them out too, because we're equal opportunity callers, outers here on Down Ballot.
All right. Well, we're going to do another thing, and another thing. And another thing is usually an uplifting story. This doesn't seem like
no.
Right,
Unfortunately, I couldn't find
a new era.
I couldn't find any uplifting stories this week. It seems like just the madness is trickling down all the way. So we're going to find out more about a Reddit video involving eggs and our unhoused neighbors.
Yeah, I did talk with San Francisco police today. They say that they have investigated this incident and that there is an active investigation underway. Monday night, video captured an alleged egging attack in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury. In the video posted to Reddit, you can see a man hurling eggs at a building as several onlookers try to stop him as he went back to his car for more eggs.
Stop that, bro. Stop that, bro. Stop that, bro. Stop that, bro.
The video goes on for 3 minutes. At one point, the man throwing the eggs said he was doing it after he himself was targeted.
That man attacked me earlier. No, that man hit me earlier.
However, SFPD did not corroborate this claim in the statement sent to KTVU. The video gathered views on Reddit, garnering more than 100 comments. The man throwing the eggs was identified as Aaron Dawson. On Wednesday, eggshells could still be found at the intersection of Haight and Cole,
that's called evidence.
an area frequented by transient communities.
Yeah, he just said he pretty much got whacked with eggs.
This man, who declined to give his name, said he knows the man who had the eggs thrown at him and said he hasn't discussed the incident much since it happened.
He's a quiet guy. He doesn't like to really talk much about it. He doesn't talk much about really anything, to be honest with you. He just said he got hit with eggs.
San Francisco police confirmed that they were called to the area Monday night at about 6:10 p.m. following reports of a battery. Police said they spoke with the victim, who told them the man started throwing eggs at him while he was sleeping. Police said there was no prior interaction between the men. Investigators said they went to the suspect's home and spoke with him, conducting a mental health evaluation. Neighbors in the area say...
What the fuck?
Yes.
Just because you're what we would call crazy because of your behavior does not mean that this is the result of like a mental illness. Like,
no.
The guy's an asshole until you put that in the DSM fucking 6 or whatever, dude. Fuck you.
Yeah, this is like, yeah.
In the neighborhood, and the egging comes as a surprise to them.
Well, it's pretty inhumane, I guess. Like, I don't know, the guy seems drunk to me, or like he was not completely with his whole mind. I don't know. It's very weird to me.
That man attacked me.
We did reach out to Dawson, who has no comment about the incident. At this point, no arrests have been made, but police say this is an open and active investigation. We're live in San Francisco. Christian Cafton, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right. Thank you, Christian.
Yo, that guy's that guy's lucky that somebody didn't just whoop his ass, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know where to put this story, to be honest. It could have been to Get Your Shit Together when it was in Losers, probably not Down Ballot, but yeah, it just oddness. And really on top of that, like, you know, a little bit out of control, a little bit erratic, might be cruising for a bruising. Also wasting eggs. at a time when eggs are like $12 a dozen right now.
He didn't
Like,
really
that's-
do it to like hurt anybody. He did it to like floss that he has a lot of eggs.
That must be it, right? Like he's just showing off. Like, check me out. I got my Prius. I got my eggs. I'm doing the right. I'm living large right now, right? And that guy.
I'll be honest. I'm fucking stunned that the guy wasn't in a Tesla. If I'm being completely honest,
he kept the Tesla at home that night. He didn't want to be spotted in the Tesla, so he took the Prius out because you never know what could happen when you're out there egging people. So he wanted to keep the Tesla at home. He didn't want to get it damaged.
man, like what an asshole, dude. Like there's no like, oh, that guy attacked me earlier. What are you gonna fucking go hunt down some unhoused guy who like punched you or something to go throw eggs at? Well, if he already beat your ass, what are you doing throwing eggs at him? Like, what are you...
Right. And what exactly happened? I don't know. Did he step to you, homie? Bro, just chill out. Let's everyone who's calmed down. Let's stop wasting eggs. Let's give each other a little grace and understand where each other are coming from. So maybe, who knows? Maybe he was having a mental episode, and it would explain wasting eggs like that. I mean, that's just seriously not the right time to be doing that. It's bad.
I know you're like mostly kidding, but I don't like any like sort of conflation with asshole behavior and like mental health problems, because people who are like suffering with like mental health problems are more often the victim of this kind of behavior than the perpetrator.
You are correct. You are absolutely correct. 100%.
Like by a lot.
Correct. And housed people are much more often the perpetrators of crime than unhoused people. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. We should always call that out and lift that up.
So now, do you want to read this show out?
Yeah, we a little bit longer this week, but thank you for indulging us. It's, after a couple of weeks, it's always good to catch up on the big topics, and I can hear the bad baby calling me. So I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful week. We do this every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, except when we don't, live on Twitch and other environs. You can always find out more at echoplexmedia.com, and make sure you tune in for public comment coming up later with producer Dave. As always, we encourage you to get your vaccinations, to wear a mask where it's appropriate. You don't have to wear pants. It's totally optional. You're going to listen to some audible smoke while we transition into the red light portion of the show. And I wish you a very happy Tuesday night. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage, waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand, ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later, we're all singing Queen. Now get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink. Spark it if you got it and then pass it to me, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside? I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'm probably doing sloppily. We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band, enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Molly say that he like jamming and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Well, Bob Marley said that he like jamming and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yeah, we do what we want, and what we want is the jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we wanna do, what we want is the jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want, what we wanna do, what we want is the jam. So sit back and enjoy the band.